everybody. It's your favorite NBA Yap artist. It's time to talk about some basketball. And, of course, there's really only one thing to talk about. Number 77, Jamison battles huge threes last night in the Toronto Raptors win over the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's just a joke, guys. Get it? Because what we're going to talk about today is Luka Doncic, and he's also number 77. All right, it's time to lock in and talk about some basketball. Really going to talk about the Lakers and Grizzlies game last night because there's a lot to take away from both teams. If you guys like this type of content, leave a like, leave a comment, leave a subscribe. So many of you are not subscribed. We're getting so close to 10,000, folks. So close to 10,000. Liking the video is free, so just do it, damn it. I mean, Jesus, let's take a sip of coffee. Oh. Espresso. Love that. The Los Angeles Lakers, that was not intentional. The Los Angeles Lakers beat the Memphis Grizzlies last night, 117-112. Luka's return game. I will say the commentary was funny to me. Well, Luka missed, I think 3 total games. They were talking as if Luka just returned from the front lines of World War I. Like, this is so impressive in Luka's return. It's like he was out with a finger injury, okay? He didn't have trench foot, okay, at the Battle of Versailles. Like, he's going to be all right. But anyways, Luka last night, 44 points, 14 of 27 from the field, literally could not be stopped. I mean, he's reached this point so far this season, obviously came into the season looking in much better physical shape than he did last season at the very least. And through just 3 games, 45 points per game, nearly 12 rebounds, 7.5 assists on fantastic efficiency, right? I mean, he's shooting 35% from 3. He is taking nearly 12.5 per game. But the 3-point efficiency isn't great. But what is tremendous is he just, it feels like he cannot be stopped whenever he's getting to the basket. It feels like he can get anywhere he wants inside the 3-point line, and he doesn't miss. He's shooting 80% on 2s currently, which is an incredibly encouraging number. Like I mentioned, it just feels as though at this stage he's able to get to whatever spot he wants. Now, this has kind of left me wondering, his start to the season, how efficient he looks, how good he looks physically. Could he average 40? I think the answer is no, because averaging 40 points per game is absolutely nuts. There's a reason why. When the fuck was the last time it happened? Has it happened since like the Wilt Chamberlain fake stat line era? I'm actually not entirely sure. But there's a reason why this shit really never happens. There's a reason why you look at like Harden's 36 and Kobe's 35 over the last 25 years as being like these beacons of high scoring seasons. And it's like, man, it's really hard to get to that number. But with LeBron out with sciatica, who knows how much he's going to play this season? Obviously, Reeves is taking some ginormous leaps forward, but with all of those things happening, his usage right now is 40%. It will go down, I'm assuming, but if he remains, he won't shoot 80% on 2s over the course of the whole year, but if he just remains in physically this type of shape and doesn't, get an injury, I do feel like he'll be able to still get to his spots wherever he wants, to still be able to, get to the rim whenever he wants. And he's gotten so good at finishing once he gets inside the 3-point line. That's, I don't know. I feel like we could be witnessing like a historic level scoring season from Luka, just in terms of points per game and, what we can expect from there. Because, 35% from 3 on the volume he takes and the type of shots he takes doesn't surprise me. Although I did see a stat that said that he was shooting 60% on what was considered tightly contested threes and in the teens on open threes. That doesn't surprise me either. Luka's always been a rhythm shooter. Being a spot-up catch-and-shoot guy has, this shot right here, and somebody mentioned this has always been true. If you see Luka release his shot like this and he lands with just the back foot, with the right foot just kind of, staying up in the air, doesn't land on 2 feet, just lands with 1 foot up, that shit's going in the basket. I mean, almost guaranteed. Right? It's the equivalent of Steph turning around in the corner. It's that shit's going in, right? I'm willing to bet you almost anything. So anyways, it's been the relentlessness getting to the basket and finishing inside the 3-point line that has been by far the most encouraging start of the, you see what I mean right there? You see how that foot just stayed up? But it's been the most encouraging part of this early season scoring barrage from Mr. Luka Doncic. And it's something that, again, would be really encouraging. Oh, also just completely shook Vince Williams Jr. out of his shoes, literally. I mean, how often do you see How often, if you're wondering what word I have muted, it is Luka. I've muted Luka's name on Twitter because I just frankly can't do it anymore. I've also muted Nico's name. I got 1,000 names muted. The 1,000th thing. And it's gotten to the point where my timeline really isn't even basketball. It's actually quite nice. Anyways, he literally shook a dude out of his shoes. Unfortunately, he didn't make the three. But, bro, I mean, his shoe literally came off. Oh, I want to compare, this start to the season to some of the historic scoring seasons we've seen since the 90s. Obviously, Harden's 36 point per game that we saw in 2018, 2019 was the highest point per game total we've seen in decades, literally decades. And, I think that's a comparable one. Why do I say that? Harden's usage rate that season was 40%. That's about where Luka's is. Now, if LeBron kind of has this weird season where he doesn't play much, maybe they're a little bit more load managey with him. Maybe he is just kind of more in a coast Swiss Army knife type role. Like, this is going to sound weird, but almost like Josh Hart on steroids in some ways for them. Or like a Draymond role. I've seen people say that. I don't think he's nowhere near as good enough defensively, but just kind of this plug in and I'll be on the wing. I'll cut. I'll facilitate. I'll pass. But, you guys got this. Will LeBron accept that? I don't know. But I could still see this type of scoring from Luka. 45 is not going to happen. Could it be 40 over the course of a season? He's shooting 80% on twos. That'll go down. 35% on threes. That probably will stay around there if I had to guess. 71% or 78% from the free throw line. That's about where he lives usually. And I'd have to imagine that's probably where he stays at. Yeah, man, I think it's possible. I think it's possible he averages like 37 or 38. That would be my guess. I heard something that he is like plus 300 or something to be the scoring leader, point per game scoring leader in the NBA. That's insane. If he plays 65 games or whatever it is, you have to qualify for the point per game leaderboard. I don't know what the qualifiers are for that. The different from the like awards. But if he plays enough games, I just can't imagine he won't lead the league in scoring. Last time he played a full healthy season, he led the league in scoring. And just the opportunity he has on this Lakers team, especially with LeBron being out, like Reeves is still better as a Robin, and you don't have a lot of offensive talent on the roster outside of those two. You'll get some nights here and there from Jake LaRavia like we saw last night, like we've seen the last couple nights, and he's been good defensively for them. Yeah, Ayton is a pick and roll guy. He's not just going to be like, give me the ball and get the fuck out the way. I'm going to take over this game. That's not who Austin Reeves is, or DeAndre Ayton is. So the opportunity will be there for Luka. And I don't know. Could we get 36, 35, 36? We haven't seen something like that since Harden and Kobe. I don't know. I think it's possible, man. I really, really do. Another encouraging thing for me is just how often he's getting to the paint and how often he's looking to score inside the three-point line so far this season per game. And I don't even think this includes last night's games. I think this is just 2 games, but still kind of matches the eye test. 4 shots per game in the restricted area. He's 83% on those. 7.5 in the paint in the non-restricted area. So floaters, those turnaround jumpers that he loves. He's 77% there. And only 2 mid-range shots, which he is 83%. Now you compare that to where he was last season, the first 10 games for Luka, where it was clear and obvious he was dealing with coming back from that calf problem and just wasn't in the best place physically. Just truth be told, I mean, I watched every game. Just wasn't in the best place physically. And you notice a huge uptick, nearly half a field goal attempt more in the restricted area per game. That's kind of a lot when you consider shots in the restricted area. But he's shooting better. I mean, 76% is still really good, but 83% so far this year. 6.1 attempts in the paint last year through the first 10 games. There's 7.3 so far. So nearly an attempt more in the paint, but 77% this year compared to 47% last year. That was a problem, really. So if you go back and even if you go back and watch the first 10 games last year and look at these shots, they weren't good shots, right? They were kind of contested fall away, really contested fall aways, or just tough floaters over defenders where he wasn't really getting an advantage and was just forced to take a tough shot. Now he's just shooting these fall away jumpers where there's not really a contest because he's already beat his defender. He's already got a shoulder on his defender and his defender's just flying the other way and he just has a wide open look. In the mid-range, last year he was 37% on mid-range jumpers, settling for a lot of bad shots. There's no settling at all. The only couple of bad shots I would say Luka took last night were just heat checks, which whatever. When Luka's scoring, and I've always said, when Luka is scoring at a high clip and he's having a great game, who gives a fuck? He's going to have a few heat checks a game where you're just like, what the hell was that one? Right? That's just what he does. It gets frustrating when it's a scoring rut and you're trying to get him in a groove and he's just settling for bad shots. But you see what I'm saying here? Like this fadeaway jumper right here. I mean, that's tough. That's tough. That's over Rudy Gobert. That wasn't a good example. But he's had plenty where, he gets to that spot right here, right below the free throw line, and he's turning and he's fading, and it's easy, smooth, right? Like, let's see if this is one right here. Turnaround fadeaway jumper. That's just too easy, man. He was carving Jaden McDaniels' ass up. God bless him, but he was. He was carving his ass up. These fadeaways are so nice. But see, that's just too much space. And then he's been so good at finishing around the rim so far this season and getting to the free throw line. He has shot a lot of free throws so far. 14 free throw attempts a game. Oh, Lakers land. Lake show. 14 a game, huh? Wow. Good for him, man. Good for him. But he's been so good at getting to the rim that you have to almost give him space to shoot those turnaround jumpers because you're so worried about him getting to the rim. So it's been an incredible start to the year for Luka. This stuff will come down. I assume the usage will come down. And honestly, if I'm a Lakers fan, if I'm a Luka fan, a Luka stan, I am a Luka fan, but a Luka stan who lives and breathes everything he does, I do want that usage to go down. And I want the minutes to go down. I want to get to around 33, 34 minutes a game, preferably. And I want that usage to go down. It's just too much. I know he's in good physical shape right now. He's already had to miss 3 games. I don't want there to be too much of a burden on him right now. Okay. Now let's talk about the other big story from this game. Ja Morant. We were watching this game live on stream. We were talking about it as the game was happening. It was like, dude, what is going on with Ja Morant? Like something seems off. Is there like an injury that he's playing through? We know that he had a little ankle thing entering the season. Like, is this something that's bothering him still? Or did he injure himself early in this game and he's just kind of playing through it? Or what is going on? Something does not seem right here. And I even mentioned at one point during the game, it feels like a silent protest of some sort out on the floor. He would not bring the ball up at all. If the ball got swung to him, he would immediately pass it to somebody else. Even if he had a mismatch, even if he had like Jackson Hayes guarding him, you would think Ja Morant of old is taking this right to the basket and scoring over. Luka guarding him, Ja Morant of old is taking him off the dribble and going straight to the basket. He would just swing it. It was one of the worst games I've seen like a star player have. I mean, just in terms of like his 3 of 14 from the field. I don't know. I'd be interested to see how many shots he took in the second half of this game. Just his complete and total unwillingness to do anything. That's one of the saddest performances I've seen from a max level player. And Jaren Jackson Jr. was dreadful as well, but he's an entire different story in and of himself. But then it comes out, Ja Morant said this came out after the game. People are asking him this video. I'm not going to play it, but the video is pretty bad. Like sometimes these quotes, you read them and you're like, oh shit. And then you watch the video and it's like, oh, it's not that bad. I'll just play the video actually. The video is pretty damn bad.
Rocks now.
Do you feel like, it was anything you could do differently, I guess?
It's rocks now. They had a whole spill in here, so.
From the outside, and the outside may be wrong, but from the outside, it didn't look like you had your usual energy tonight.
Go ask the coaching staff why.
Okay. You feel like you should play more?
Go ask the coaching staff. Should I play more or not?
What had been done? What could have been done different to get a different outcome, other than asking the coaching staff?
According to them, probably don't play me. Honestly, that's what basically the message was after. So it's cool.
The coaching staff message was
It's
it?
cool. Bro. We good?
You didn't have anything physically wrong in terms of illness or anything?
Oh, no,
You
I'm
were
good.
under the
I'm
weather.
fine.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Yeah, the video's bad. Like again, sometimes you read these, you're like, okay, the video makes it sound worse. So it's led me to believe that there was probably, he did get into like an altercation. I don't want to say altercation because this shit happens from time to time, right? But he did get into a little verbal yelling match with Jock Landale during the game, where Jock Landale was clearly like, "Hey man, can you fucking try harder?" And Ja Morant was basically just like, "Fuck you." So I'm assuming there were some post-game words, and the led to, according to them, probably not play me. If I had to guess, what was probably said was something along the lines of like, we would have been better off without you tonight, which they would have. He was so bad, right? Pat Spencer, bro. Pat Spencer was having to do everything for him. Oh, Cam Spencer, Pat Spencer. Pat Spencer's on the Warriors, obviously. Cam Spencer was the one taking all their shots late in the game, it felt like. or Jalen Wells, and Jaren Jackson Jr. Like, what's up with you? You don't get a pass from me, dude. I'm sorry. Jaren Jackson Jr. pisses me off to no end. But anyways, this was announced about an hour or so ago, that Ja Morant has been suspended 1 game. So let's see where this ends up taking us. Obviously, it has been the career arc for Ja Morant has just been, it's actually been kind of sad to see. Obviously, you have the injuries, but then you have the off-court stuff as well, and it almost feels like the joy has just been completely and totally taken out of Ja Morant. It's not the player we're used to seeing. Man, it just really bums me because he is one of the funnest players to watch in the league. And unfortunately, it feels like we just reached this point where I don't know what his career looks like from here on out. Here's this. It's Darko. You see some people post these stats from time to time, but, it kind of shows where their career trajectory heads. And it's been a couple years now for Ja where we're on a downward trajectory with his career. And he's 24 years old. I mean, how old is Ja Morant? Definitely not old enough to have a career decline at this point in time. 24, 25 years old. So just something to monitor here. He was somebody who I believe was extension eligible. He just turned 26 recently. Somebody who was extension eligible this past summer who didn't get extended. There's something to watch here because the Ja Morant experience it's been kind of rocky in Memphis for a couple years now, but it feels like it's really reaching an ugly point. And I don't know where this ends up heading, but that was really bad. I mean, that was really, really bad from Ja Morant last night. I have never seen a star player just completely and totally give up in a game quite like that in quite some time. I mean, it's happened. Don't get me wrong, but that was just, wow. In a winnable game too. Yeesh. Let me know what you guys think. Luka, what's the realistic point per game we're looking at? What do you think? Some other stuff that happened last night. The Celtics got a nice win over the Sixers, their first loss of the season. Again, it's some Sixers devil magic late in the fourth quarter. It looked like the Celtics were just going to cruise to a win, and then the Sixers just started bombing threes. But Jaylen Brown was fantastic last night. Hugo Gonzalez made some plays defensively. So shout out to the Celtics, who are quietly, are they 3-3? Not half bad. Devin Booker popped off last night against the Jazz. Kawhi Leonard hit a buzzer beater game winner against the Pelicans, who made this late comeback thanks to Jeremiah Fears. Was really fun and exciting. They're still winless. They still don't have their pick. Tough scenes. The Trailblazers beat the Nuggets. Quietly, the Trailblazers have looked pretty good to start this year. I don't know how long it's going to last for them, but the Trailblazers look like a pretty competent team right out the gates, and Drew Holiday's looked good for them. Like, he's been better than I was expecting because I thought he was just teetering on washed. Would love him in Dallas. Like, seriously. I think he would have been perfect here. Never made sense contract-wise, but the Bulls remain undefeated as well. Josh Giddey's been hooping. That was one of the flags I planted hard when that Giddey Caruso trade happened, where I was like, this is not a bad trade at all for Chicago. Like, everyone is shitting on Chicago, and I'm just like, I don't know, if you like Josh Giddey, getting Josh Giddey for Caruso feels perfectly fine for a team like Chicago. And he's been fantastic for them, really, like the last 3 or so months of last season going into this year. And the frustrating, to put it lightly, start for the New York Knicks continues. Still not worried about them. Give me until Thanksgiving or so before I really start to worry. Oh, and Cleveland lost to Toronto as well. But Cleveland, who even played for Cleveland last night? Mobley was really the only guy. Yeah. Same thing. I'm not too worried yet. I'm a little bit worried about me predicting them to finish first in the East in the regular season. Jameson battle. How about those shots, huh?